Will the Chinese economy suffer a massive dent as numerous foreign firms operating on Chinese soil shut their doors on China? Will the world's production factory finally bolt its doors as firms make a quick dash out of the country? Let's take a look at how things will pan out for this manufacturing superpower in the upcoming future. Back to the beginning. In order to make some sense of the crisis that is looming large on the Chinese economic horizon, we need to revisit history to take a look at the factors that contributed to China's rapid economic growth. The 1970s saw China catapult itself to new economic heights with a few strategic weapons in its financial repertoire. Topmost were its skilled, efficient, and inexpensive labor force, which German and Japanese businesses were keen to hire and take on board. Here's what we're talking about. Compare China's annual wage to its American counterpart in the late 2000s, which was roughly 3% of the American amount. China's economy became an investment magnet that pulled in lucrative business opportunities from the Japanese as well as American shores, but sent its economic prospects soaring. Fast forward to 2023 and things don't quite look as optimistic. For one, by the year 2021, Chinese wages had made a massive leap, covering a huge income gap that brought it close to 1/3 of wages in the United States. Reliability is another key factor that has flipped the tables on current Chinese economic prospects. Against a backdrop of President Xi Jinping's belligerent economic policies, some of the shine of Chinese economic development has worn off for foreigners who are looking to invest in the region. China has a list of laws and requirements that do not rub off too well on those looking to do business. According to a Forbes report, a Chinese partner needs to have access to any firm's classified technology and trade secrets that is looking to establish itself in the Chinese system. Stealing copyright material and intellectual property is also, at times, part of the equation. Has Xi Jinping dropped the ball? President Jinping's propensity to maneuver and engage in power plays to keep the financial ball rolling in China's court has raised a huge red flag for non-local firms who are taking the decision to pull back from the region. Case in point, the blockage of exports by China on a global scale was observed in the case of surgical masks raised some pertinent questions when it came to the consistency and reliability of the Chinese economic infrastructure. Alarms started ringing around China's obvious unreliability during and after the COVID lockdown measures, which further plunged Western and Japanese financial interest in the country. China's rogue tactics in the business and financial realm have impacted its future growth prognosis adversely. In plain speak, foreign firms are shrinking back from the idea of pouring money into the Chinese market due to a lack of transparency, as well as unfair measures designed to protect Chinese interests. Market barriers are also posing a serious challenge. Foreign companies feel that they receive the short end of the deal and remain at a strategic disadvantage when pitted against Chinese companies. They have to deal with dodgy regulation and licensing procedures. Market access and government support are also tricky areas that they have to navigate. Is China losing its shine as an investment hub? While China remained a hub of cheap and skilled personnel, it provides sufficient incentive to investors to turn the other cheek to its invasive economic policies. However, with the former looking to be a thing of the past, China no longer carries the same lure as a lucrative investment option. The Western world has its own set of concerns when striking up lucrative business deals with China against the tense political climate between the two countries, which is a major deterrent for American companies. AmCham China, American Chamber of Commerce in China, has voiced its concern. According to the chamber, American firms in the current economic climate are looking to give precedence to other countries over China because of its fluctuating and unpredictable policy mechanism. According to a recently conducted survey, a whopping 87% of American firms do not foresee an optimistic outlook when it comes to forging better relations between the two nations. Russia's invasion of Ukraine has been a major bone of contention between two economic giants of the world. AmCham has also articulated its concern behind China throwing its full weight behind Russian aggression by not opposing it. This has made relations between the two economic heavyweights take a drastic nosedive. China's move has not only earned the US's disfavor, it has also tarnished its image with its neighbors and other Western nations. Will China's support for Russia be its economic downfall? China has been a vociferous supporter of Russian propaganda. It's also actively voted against or abstained from lending its support to the idea of implementing economic sanctions against Russia. According to White Paper, unless the matter is resolved in a peaceful manner, China's approach to the Ukraine crisis will pose a concern for foreign companies that have poured resources in China. President Biden appears poised to give his approval and sign an executive order that is going to pull back American companies and funds to incur investments in China's advanced technological industries. US companies will scale back from investing in microchips, biotechnology, artificial intelligence, clean energy projects, and firms, as well as quantum computing. As per the terms of the executive order, US companies will now have to notify the US government of prospective investments along with limiting some of them. A spokesperson for the Chinese Foreign Ministry, Mao Ning, reiterated his country's resolve to remain receptive to sharing development opportunities globally. According to Ning, China still retains its investment destination status courtesy of its colossal market and fully developed industrial and supply chain networks. In a bid to circumvent the issue, companies such as clothing giant Mango are looking beyond Chinese borders to expand their supply chain. AmCham has labeled the strained Sino-US relations a top business challenge, which has cast a direct negative influence on 3/4 of the companies functioning in China. For those who do not have sufficient info about the backstory, relations between US and China plummeted to a new low after the discovery of a Chinese spy balloon floating around in US territory. In a series of events that ensued, which included US State Secretary Antony Blinken cancelling out a trip to China, as well as a host of sanctions slapped on Chinese firms, things do not look too good for US-China ties, at least on the financial front. China's blatant crackdowns. While considerable in magnitude, these problems are just the tip of the iceberg. What has left foreign companies deeply rattled and on unsolid footing are the grimy tactics of Xi Jinping's regime. Consultancy firms in China are being subjected to a series of national security raids, further eradicating their confidence in the current regime's governance. The recent measures undertaken by the Chinese government and authorities have received a thumbs down when it comes to promoting business growth. China's economic policies have swung between extremes. After the sudden cessation of its zero-COVID policy, this recent clampdown in the form of raids has invited comment from the EU Chamber of Commerce, which called the measures as giving off mixed signals when it comes to boosting business confidence. China's espionage law has also seen some alarming additions, compelling an American business group to issue a warning against the pitfalls and risks of business in China. Bain & Company, a renowned American consulting firm, was under the Chinese government's scrutiny in April, as 5 of its personnel were interrogated by law enforcement authorities. This incident followed on the coattails of yet another raid that was carried out in March on the Mintz Group Beijing office. The company is based in New York. The latest casualty in the series of crackdowns is Capvision. Capvision is a consultancy firm that has offices in New York, Beijing, Shanghai, Suzhou, and Shenzhen. Chinese state media went at length to explain the reason behind the restrictive measures. Capvision is facing accusations of collaborating against China with overseas firms and leaking China's state secrets along with critical intelligence. The fact that this crackdown is targeting US companies is quite telling. Alarmingly, China is also placing restrictions on people, which includes foreign executives from leaving Chinese borders. Numerous exit bans against Chinese nationals and foreigners have also been clamped in place. Conflicts over security between foreign nationals and the Chinese state seem to be inching China closer to economic chaos. In the current atmosphere of insecurity, foreign businesses will struggle to thrive. What is your take on the dire business climate in China? Do let us know your thoughts. If you like our content, don't forget to hit like, share, and subscribe. Until next time.